right, so now for this, we're going to go ahead and I want to create a big old box where if I run into it, if I fall into it, I die. So it's going to be like the death area. So I'm going to right click, create empty, and I'm going to call it fall trap. I'm going to give it the tag of trap, add component, physics 2D, box collider 2D. I'm going to take this trap, I'm going to move it down and right underneath my level. And I'm going to set the collider size on the X to be like 100. I want it to be really, really big. And I want it to be a trigger. And I'll adjust the location that way. If I fall beneath my level, I hit this and I die. But if I hit it, I'm only going to lose 1 health. So that doesn't really work. So instead of trap, I'm going to go ahead and add tag. I'll add another one. And this will be insta kill. I'll select that fall trap again, and I'll set the tag to be insta kill. So if I fall into this, then I want it to instantly kill the player. So I'll go into my script, player collision 2D. I'm going to take what I have for trap. I'm going to copy this and paste it below. And for if I hit insta kill, I want to lose like 1,000 health. I want to lose all the health. And then I don't want it to knock back the player. I'm just going to delete that. This will eventually trigger death and him. But for now, this is fine. So I ran into it and I lost 1,000 health. We don't have any way to like actually die yet, but we'll get there. So now we need to actually trigger a death animation. So something that happens when the player dies. So this is going to be a multi-step process, but we can kind of get started with the basics of it here. The first thing I want to do though is in my game manager, we have this health text.text where we update the health text. Instead of having that as just lines of code we repeat, let's go ahead and create a function here. We'll do private void update health text. And then I'm going to just copy that down here. And now instead of having this health text thing, the whole thing, we can just call update health text. So I'll call this function here, put a semicolon at the end. Same thing here. And then the same thing here. This just makes it so a little bit easier to understand what we did. Now we need to go ahead and let's make a function beneath there. And we'll do private void health check. And this function's job is just going to see, well, if our player health is less than or equal to 0, then we'll just do a comment here, player death. We'll trigger that in a second. I then am going to take that health check function and then underneath health, update health text inside of lose health, I'll do health check. So if we end up dying, if we end up having health of 0 or less, then the character should die. How do we trigger that? Well, first thing we need to do is we need to have an animation. And then we need to find a sprite for us to work with that will play when the character dies. Go to the player character sprites. I don't really have one for the character dying. So let's kind of cheat here and let's just use an explosion. So if I go into sprites and there is a folder in here for effects, and then I have one for Super Pixel Effects Pack 3, then sprite sheet, and I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and let's go ahead and just get warp. Actually, let me adjust the size of this so we can see the full thing. Down here, there's a little slider you can adjust to change the size. Let's grab warp large red. Open that up. And this is the sprite we want to work with. I'm going to increase the size of the view so we can see a little bit better. Now, for the sprite mode, this is multiple. For the filter mode, point no filter. And pixels per unit, I'm going to set the 32, but that might not be right. Click apply. Then we'll go to open sprite editor. And we can see that it has a bunch of sprites in here that are not what we want it to be. Instead of going through and deleting all of these, we can just go to slice, type, and then we'll do by cell count. So there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 10 columns with one row. Click slice. And now we have our animation all cut out, nice and easy. We click apply. Click apply. And now we have our things cut out. I'm going to go ahead and select just one of these for now, just to test. Yeah, that's about right. 32 works. So I'm going to select the first one and the last one. Drag this into our scene. And I'm going to put this in my asset folder for animations, player anim, and I'll call this player death. .anim. Click save. And now I'm going to go into my animations folder, player anim, and now I have my sprite sheet 0 thing. I'll delete this extra one so I just have my player character one. And I'm going to grab the player death and drag this into my scene. And then I have this any state function. So I could insert player death and somewhere in my main animation loop. But really, regardless if I'm jumping, running, falling, or if I'm idle, if I hit 0 health, I want to trigger that player death animation. So I'll do play any state, right click there, make transition to player death. So I need to set the parameter. I'll create a new bool and I'll say player death or is dead. Right, so it's a boolean. So is dead. Conditions is dead is true. So the transition from any state to player death. If it's dead, that's true, and that's what you play. And there's no way to get out of player death, which is fine. That works. Then we go into Visual Studio and we go to our editor. And for a game manager, we want to be able to trigger player death. To do that, we need to have the player. So up top, I'm going to create a serialized field, and it'll be a private player controller player. When we die, when we do the health check and the player is, health is 0, we need to access part of player to do something. So I'll go to player controller script, and I'll make a new function underneath or somewhere around knockback, wherever. And this is going to be public void player death. So we have a function for player death, and we'll do animator dot set bool is dead is true. Now I go back to my game manager and I call that. So I'll delete this comment here and I'll say, I want the player dot player death. So I want to trigger player death. Go to Unity and I need to give my game manager the player. So I'll drag my player character in there. And then if I press play, hopefully it should all work out. All right, so I'm going to jump on the trap a few times. Well, it transitioned to the player animation, but the animation isn't playing right. That's weird, but it did transition. So I need to fix this animation, figure out what's going on with it. So it looks like there's a problem with the way I created my animation. So I'm going to go ahead and reset this really quick. Go to assets, animations, player animation. I'm going to delete my player death animation and then make it again. So in case you run into the same issue as I'm having, you can see how to fix it. So the first node and the bottom node, drag that in. and then set this back to my animations. And this is the player death. Make sure it goes in the right folder. Click save. I'll delete these other animations that are here. My animator, delete player death here. And then I just need to reconnect it. Transition, make transition from player death, any state to player death. Is dead true, and then set that there. I'll add a little transition. And now, hopefully, if I hit the trap enough times, it should trigger the proper animation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. So it is playing an animation on player death. It keeps playing it, which is not really what we want. And the animation timing is a little off, and it loops, but we can change that. So first thing I want to do is I want to, instead of my animator on the transition or on player death, I can add behavior. So for now, we're going to set it up where it will destroy the character after the player has died. So in the animator, with the player death selected, I'm going to decrease the speed of this to 0.5. I want it to be a little slower in the animation. And in order to make it so it will play the animation for a set period of time, we have it set to loop, so it'll just kind of keep looping that animation. But after a certain amount of time, we want it to just destroy the game object. Probably better if we just hide the art, but for now, this is fine. So to do that, we go to our scripts. In player controller script on player death, we want to, well, first off, destroy this .game object. So we want to destroy the game object that this is attached to. I put a semicolon there at the end, but we don't want to destroy it right away. If I hover over destroy here, you can see that there's an overload. Oh, what is that overload? I'll go and tell you. Put a comma after game object. It wants time, so we can give it the time delay before it destroys the object in the form of a float. So we can do 3.0f. We can say, hey, destroy this game object after 3 seconds. Let's try it out. Let's play, and then let's see what happens. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. All right, after 3 seconds, it destroyed the player. So, I mean, that's something, right? So we have progress made. 3 seconds is a little long, so I'm going to change this to 1. Then in our game manager, we wanted to change the health to be, so after we do player death, I want to do health text is equal to you died, or something like that. We want to update the health message after the player dies. That way it doesn't just kind of keep counting down. I'm going to move these health pickups out of the way. I'll delete one of them actually and move this other one over. And then we did the animation for a second and then died. Now we would normally have it like reset the game or do something else, but for now, that's pretty good.